Okay, so we're going to take two. I really hope that the mic is working. It says that it's the right mic, but yeah, I don't know. So what I've done here, I've got the, I'm just checking my settings here. Hopefully this is going to have the audio. So I do apologize. I did not realize that the full reading that I originally had done, and these are the cards that I had pulled, didn't come forward in audio. So if anybody's in chat, if you can just let me know if you can hear me, that'd be great. Because I thought that the whole thing was being videoed and audioed, but it's really hard to do on a live stream if no one says anything. So I'm going to go through the cards again. If this doesn't work, I'm just going to, you guys can look at the cards. Technology and I are not having a good time in the last 24 hours. So for this reading, I wanted to catch up from the technology issues I was having yesterday of no internet. It's not going so well, as you can tell. So I did draw the cards in the reading. You can watch the whole thing unfold and dub in, or you can just look at these cards. So the decks I've chosen is Tarot de la Nuit, so the Tarot of the Night, and then I also have the Chakra Wisdom Oracle. I do have links below to all these decks, so if they speak to you, you can go check them out for yourselves. I'm not a technology savvy person sometimes, and it can really tell in this video. So the first question I asked was what the full buck moon wanted to share with my friends. We got the King of Wands, the Three of Wands, and then the Four of Swords. So the full buck moon talks about the beautiful bucks coming into season, and they're starting to get their horns, and emerging pieces and aspects start to come forward, and those bucks are really starting to come into their own. The same energy can be drawn on by any and everyone, no matter what gender we identify with. Those emerging aspects and really embracing our own self goes a long way. So the King of Wands reminds us of that importance of engaging in and embracing that energy. It also reminds us of that balance. We need that balance. We have the divine feminine energy of the full moon, and we also have this very male-dominated energy as Leo steps forward and really takes his place in the sky too. We can use both energies to our advantage. Now, the Three of Wands talks about going to be able to put action to some of these decisions. We can't be idle bystanders anymore. We need to be active participants, really owning our own, owning who it is we are and where it is we want to go. No one can do this for us. This is our journey. The Four of Swords. That balance, it's essential. We're looking at that need to, yes, push forward a bit, but also rejuvenate. Will that push forward help to rejuvenate us? Absolutely. But we also have to take intentional time to care for us, physically, spiritually, and emotionally. We can't just neglect parts of ourselves and expect ourselves to be able to function at our fullest. So important to be able to balance things out. So that push forward, that drive, that nurture, that compassion, they're going to be working hand in hand. Now, the next question I asked was what would support my friends in starting to balance things out and really be able to make things their own. We got the Eight of Cups, which of course talks about that inner journey. We need to go inwards to really start to know who it is we are and where it is we want to go forward. That cup talks about that intuition. We need that intuitional energy to support us on where it is we want to go. Listening to that gut that tells us to strive forward, to move forward, rather than staying stagnant and stuck. Strength was the next card. The 8th card in the Major Arcana. Talks about using our skills and our abilities and really stepping up that king and making it our own. That authentic self. The more we're able to be authentic and understand ourselves, which of course goes back to the 8 of Cups, the more we're going to understand how we can use that to our advantage. So using that skill, that ability, really supports us. And we do have the multiple 8s. Anytime you have that multiple 8 in angel messages, the angels are encouraging you to stick true to your path ahead as prosperity is coming your way. Tarot de la Nuit. The Angel de la Nuit. The Angel of the Night. This is a deck-specific card. It goes in the Major Arcana as it's not part of any of the suits. And it talks about those dark, hidden aspects coming into the light. Those authentic aspects that we may have pushed down, our ego may have pushed aside, so that we can get by better with less resistance, with less fulfillment and joy. What the full buck moon wants to encourage you to do is take those emerging aspects, those authentic aspects, and start to bring them forward. Because the more we're using our authentic skills and our abilities and combining them with those everyday aspects, the more magic, prosperity, and joy we'll have. Then we had the Death card, the 13th card in the Major Arcana. And we're looking at that release, that transition. We need to start to reflect in and explore some of those patterns that have been holding us back, keeping us away from what is deep within ourselves, that authentic space. Is when we start to break those patterns and shift that normal response, that's when we're in control rather than our ego. And our ego, it at one point in time served us well. Right now, not so much. We need to use that higher self, that intuitional self, to help guide us forward through active participation and really owning ourselves on so many different dimensions. And then the Magician did show up. I did have a little bit of a spiel on how when we do use those hidden aspects as they are skills, the more we use them, the more strong they become. And then the Magician always combines his skills and abilities with those everyday aspects. The original card that Pamela Coleman Smith drew had a table and it had the 4 suits, the wands, the swords, the pentacles, and the cups. And the Magician knows how to use his skills and abilities to combine them with everyday aspects, everyday tools to help him create that magic, create the abundance. It's a very abundant card. There's lots of roses and lilies all over that card. We have that ability. We just need to take that time. We just need to really own who it is we are. Start to uncover that truth hidden deep within ourselves. And then I went in and asked about some supports. What would help you guys? The first one that came out was facade. Talking again about that false kind of fluffy puffiness that our ego has put in place. We all do it. It's how we get through adolescence. It's how we get through young adulthood. We conform to the norms of society, family, and friends. We start to hide that authentic person due to fear of rejection, fear of prosecution. It's time to take down that facade, one step at a time, guys. We're not looking leaps of faith. We're looking small baby steps so that you can engage with this energy, supporting you to really, really be that authentic you, to use your skills and abilities that may not be at your fingertips right now. Then enlightenment came through. The full buck moon wants you to embrace that enlightened energy, that enlightened state through active participation, opening ourselves up to this information, this wisdom, the struggle that we have. Because when we get into our problem or a challenge, for example, a technology challenge, we start to get anxious and we stop breathing deeply because we just need to get it done. Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. Raises our blood pressure and stops us to be able to use our frontal cortex, helping us to create solutions and get that job done. That enlightenment. And that's exactly what we need to do over the next 4 days. Embrace that enlightened state, that information, that guidance, those ahas that are going to be very meaningful for us. Rejection. I did mention how we do have that fear of rejection. It's a very common fear. We want to fit in. We want to be liked. We want to be like everybody else. I have seen in the last decade that there are more and more people that want to be identified as different due to whatever reasons and whatever they think should make them stand out. And that's fantastic. It's their perspective. But that fear of rejection is still there. It's still pretty raw. To be accepted fully by others, we need to start accepting ourselves. The good, the bad, and the ugly. We all have them. Those aspects and pieces that we may not be too proud about, those are the ones that we want to start to release, to shift and change through active participation. Owning who it is we are in all aspects of self. That ownership, that active participation will go a long way in supporting you in accepting self and thus being accepted by others. And then finally, perfection came through. Perfection is really in the eye of the beholder. And depending on the day, it can change even in the same eye of the beholder. It's a false. We created perfect to strive for. But what is perfect? Should we be striving for that perfect house, that perfect family, when we've already arranged and contracted to support certain beings and certain people in their journey? And are they going to be perfect? They may be some days, other days they may not be. Part of our shift is also going to be away from that perfectionist, that global need to be loved by all, then going into something that's going to be more manageable, that acceptance of self, that love for self, that drive and desire to learn, rather than seeking for perfection and for approval. So the full buck moon wants to start to shift your perspectives, shift your intentions into a more, I guess, movement forward, positive perspective, and getting caught up in our ego, in those expectations that may or may not be serving you. Are we going to get it all done in 4 days? No, sorry, we can't. It's just impossible. But the buck moon will support us in starting on this process and allowing us to continue to work on it as we go forward in the days, weeks, and years to come. There's a lot of stuff we need to get through, and we're going to have different supports and different tools that are right at hand during different parts of our life to help us release what's not working in different areas and embrace what will. And this is what the full buck moon wants to support you in over the next 4 days. So I am praying against pray that there is actually audio to this video. If you want to see how I drew the cards and shuffled and watch, possibly lip read, great. That was what I talked about in my first video. I wanted you to be able to hear the cards, not only see them. I'm going to keep that video up because people can see me actually draw the cards. I'm not just picking these cards out of random. There was a process to it. And crossing fingers, tomorrow when I'm live with my weekly reading, we're not going to have this problem. So, but like I said, if you ever come across a video that I've been doing and you can't hear me, please let me know. I'd rather let people let me know that they can't hear me so I can stop what I'm doing and rewind and get going so you guys can hear this message. I hope that you enjoyed hearing this message and you're able to use this time to your advantage. If you did like this video, please remember to give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. I don't have certain days that I upload on. I prefer to be more fluid and organic and respond to the events that are happening naturally in our everyday. So if you keep in connection, you're going to know when new videos get uploaded and what's happening. I do hope that you enjoyed this insight on the full buck moon, and I can't wait to see you tomorrow. Until tomorrow, my friends.